Hello, I'm Dr. Roberto Carricchio. I'm the chief of the Division of Rheumatology at UMass Chan Medical School in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I'm also the director of the Lupus Center at UMass Chan. I'm joined today by Miss Ruth Wilson, who's a patient with lupus, but it's much more than that. She's also a very strong advocate at the national level with a number of foundations, and also the director of our lupus support group in our center. Ruth, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for that very gracious introduction. I really appreciate your invitation to be here today.
You mentioned about your attitude toward lupus disease and how to fight back in a way. Do you have a recipe for those fighting back? Do you have a list of goals that one should change once diagnosed and evolving with the disease?
Sort of, I guess. So, my clinical course with lupus has been sort of, like this periods of remission and flares, right? And I say remission in quotes because you're never in remission, but of quiet periods and then like these flare periods where each one of them presents unique challenges. For example, I had a flare once where now I had pleuritis, right? I had pleuritis at the time, which I went to the emergency room because I thought I was having a heart attack. And then they were like, no, it's just pleurisy because of your lupus, So as you go through your journey, you start to, you're presented with these challenges and you have to make changes. And you have to tailor your treatment approaches, of your disease. So your treatment might change a lot, and your treatment and your goals will evolve over time. You're initially focusing on this sort of like symptom management and disease control, right? And then once you get that going, then your goals change. And like for today my primary objectives include maintaining disease stability, right? Preserving like organ function and optimizing my quality of life. So, I make sure I take my medicine. I make sure I'm out of the sun. I wear sunscreen. I buy big hats. If I go to the beach, like I can still go to the beach. It's not like you can't, right? Like when I go, I make sure I go like during the morning when the sun is not so harsh, or during later in the afternoon when, also the sun is like down, right? So you can still do things. You just have to, sort of change, the way that you approach, the things that you're doing. So it's not like you can't do it anymore. So I want to make sure everybody knows, once you get diagnosed with lupus, doesn't mean that you can't do those things anymore. It just means that you're going to have to make adjustments to how you live your life and how you approach, these sorts of things like your food, right? At the beginning, I used to keep a journal of foods, and I just found that eating gluten and eating dairy was causing me to have like migraines and pain like on my hands and my knees. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to remove that from my diet. And I do have days where I cheat, right? So like if I have a piece of bread, like once a month, that's okay, because I know that it's like the accumulation of gluten and the accumulation of dairy that causes me to have these flares or pain or whatever. So you just have to sort of adjust and adapt to those goals and remain consistent, and just know that they will evolve and you're going to have positive changes in your health and your treatment outcomes.
So thank you again for sharing this important points.
Thank you so much for having me. This was very useful information, that I hope helps other lupus patients. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And let's thank also the audience that has joined us today to listen to us, and especially to your story. Thank you very much.